at the age of 12, I had, I guess, an encounter of the bad kind with a microbe called Streptococcus pyogenes. This is the bad, if I can personify it, the bad Streptococcus, the Streptococcus that causes sore throats in young people. More than a sore throat for me, it actually caused a sore throat followed by rheumatic fever. Now that's a bad thing to happen to a 12-year-old, because sometimes rheumatic fever is complicated by damage to the heart, and worldwide, in fact, tens of thousands of children every year die of rheumatic heart disease. It didn't kill me, but what it did do was to subject me to another 10 years then of what we call prophylaxis. This is a way to protect people who've had one attack of rheumatic fever from getting another attack of rheumatic fever. So you've got to stop them from getting more infections with the bad bug, Strep pyogenes. And the way that's done, still today, and that was 40 years or 50 years ago now, the way it's done is to give the young people penicillin every single day. So for a decade, for 10 years, all through my teenage years, I actually had to pop penicillin pills, 2 of them every day, and that was a constant reminder that I was different. I'd been attacked and I had succumbed to the bad Streptococcus. So this penicillin was to stop me from getting another streptococcal infection. Sure, it may have done that, but it also gave me quite a stigma to carry through my teenage years, because every time I perspired, penicillin came out of my pores and I smelled like a fungus. Now, let me tell you, this is not a cool thing for a teenager every time they generate a sweat to be smelling like a fungus. And I can remember more than once thinking, you know, there's just got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to stop streptococcal infections other than having to take these antibiotics, because when you take penicillin, it's like an atomic bomb blast too for your normal bacteria, for your friendly bacteria on your body. Take penicillin and shortly thereafter it's just like an explosion as far as your normal bacteria are, and they're decimated, not only the bad guys but the good guys as well. So this wasn't cool.
I guess that's why they call it antibiotics.
Yeah, anti-life, against life, yes. And so that was on my mind all through the teenage years. And then when I had the chance to go to Melbourne University to study as a young student, really, I suppose what we call the eureka moment for me was when one of my teachers, who had been overseas to America on a study leave, came back and told her class, and I was in her class as a young aspiring microbiologist. She told us about what she'd learnt on her study leave, and it was that bacteria can be our best friends. They can actually be the best weapon that we as humans have to fight off the bad bacteria. Now, her interest was in the intestinal tract, and what she wanted to do was to offer us, the students in her class, the opportunity to take intestinal probiotic. And so she said to us, class, I'm going to give you some milk, and in that milk there are some friendly bacteria. These bacteria produce something that will hopefully protect you against the bad bacteria that can cause intestinal infections. Now, that sounded like a good idea to me. In fact, it became immediately, for me, sitting there in the front row of the laboratory class, this eureka moment. Maybe the same principle that my teacher, Dr. Mushin, was telling us about for the intestinal tract could be used in the oral cavity to protect against streptococcal infections, because this was what was on my mind, finding a way to stop sore throats occurring in young children. And here might be a way now is to take a friendly bacterium, give it to young children, So the friendly bacteria would grow not in their intestine, but in their oral cavity and provide some local protection there against strep sore throat. So that, in a sense, sort of programmed my life. From that moment, it was like an obsession. All I could think about was, can I find a friendly bacterium that won't do humans harm, that will fight for us, go to war for us, if you like, be our protectors, be our minders against the bad streptococci.